Well, I got involved with Jay Forrester, and I learned about system dynamics. And clearly it was a powerful technique for business in terms of understanding their problems better. And I said to Jay one day, I said, I think this would be good in the school systems. And he said, he agreed. He thought kindergarten through 12th was the right place for it, rather than trying to teach adults about it. And Jay's mentor, the professor that he was associated with at MIT, had retired to Tucson. And so we started out in Tucson in the Orange Grove School. Mary Sheets was the principal. Mary thought it sounded like a good idea. He got a couple of teachers oriented towards it, and they started to use the technique. Now, at that point, it was really a computer program, stocks and flows. Jay thought it was only appropriate really for the high school, but the Orange Grove was a middle school. And then we spent the last 20 years really finding out what we could do. And clearly it is very different teaching kindergarten students than it is graduate students at MIT. And they have developed some marvelous techniques for handling things. I think it helps children become mature. They realize how the world really works, and that is an important thing.
I'm very interested in education and in children, and after not concentrating on that, I finally, in my 40s, I was actually teaching. I was teaching in Watertown with boys who were determined not to learn under ordinary conditions. And I had really a great success with that. And the school itself was such a unusual school that the Watertown finally managed to close it down. So I was kind of lost for a while. And Jim had started with the systems. And I knew about it, but I figured this is for engineers. And I couldn't really figure it for children, but Jim started right out. And he asked if I would come to Tucson, because one of the things I had done was to mentor and observe teachers. And he said, I want to know how effective it really is with putting our money in here, and I'd like to know.
Do you have a favorite story about how the power of systems thinking with young kids in school?
Well, one of the ones that I like the best is a principal in the Catalina Foothills system who I was interviewing. This is about 12 years ago. And she said to me, this is good for kids, but she said, it's changed my life. I don't think the same as I used to think. I think I see much more of the big problem. I see how things accumulate or decay and what the feedback and what the time delays are. It's just changed my life.
I followed him down to Tucson, and I could see what good it did and how it helped the shy, how it helped the voluble, how they reframed their questions, how they demonstrated what they knew. They came up with unusual answers, and everything was at a deeper level. They weren't just skimming. They would really be challenged by the questions, and I saw how it could be applied to any subject, even music. That surprised me, but you can. I think really I believe very firmly in children choosing how they are going to learn with tools that they can use now, in the middle, later, that they will see the world differently. They will feel much more confident about working towards their final decision, and then if the final decision isn't working, they will probably see how it isn't, that they haven't noticed something. They will have a much broader overview. I'd love to see the first generation, some of them get into Congress and say, wait a minute, there's more to this than you thought. And they will be right.
Oh, our vision for the future is very modest. We just want to change the world. And I think that if, and Faith thinks too, that if we can help the world become more mature, they'll make wiser decisions. And the real right decision in the world is not the decision of an elite imposing their will upon the rest of us, but of people being educated, let's say, to recognize what their own self-interest is, put the tools in the hands of people. They will make interesting decisions, and they generally will be kind to each other.